Good, happy Thursday morning. It is Thursday, July 21, 2022. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Thursday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, we're going to begin with the weather for your Thursday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast. Weather right now is fair, 71 degrees, feels like 71 degrees. Expect dry conditions for the next 6 hours. And there is a weather alert. There is a heat advisory until 8 p.m. this evening. With a full weather forecast, let's go to meteorologist Mike Haddad. Meteorologist Mike Haddad is saying thunderstorms could bring strong winds and hail for Thursday today. And here is that full weather forecast.
We need Maggie Arson to keep fighting to lower costs for families. She worked with Republicans and Democrats to ban surprise medical bills. Now Maggie Arson's taking on the big drug companies to give Medicare the power to negotiate lower drug prices.
Thank you very much for joining us, Stormwatch 9 weather on the web. A lot of extreme summer heat the last couple of days, and more is on the way right through the upcoming weekend. And smack dab in the middle of all of that, we've got a couple of thunderstorm chances. The second one will line up later in the weekend and very early next week. But for tomorrow, we have the potential for some severe weather in the form of strong straight-line winds, large hail, a medium threat, much higher threat with the wind damage, and some very heavy rain along with frequent lightning. There is even a low tornado risk in the Granite State tomorrow, all due to this storm rotating in from the Great Lakes, feeding on that very hot and humid air that'll be in here again tomorrow. In terms of the storm threat timeline, while there could be a storm anytime from around midday through 1 or 2 o'clock, it looks like the best bet will come in from around 1:30 or 2 p.m. far west, working quickly through the Lakes region and points north through the mid part of the afternoon. Then late afternoon and evening, notice how we could see scattered storms that could be strong to severe anywhere in the state before it all wraps up by about 9 or 10 tomorrow evening. In advance of all of that, more heat and humidity in here for the day tomorrow. Tonight, not a refreshing night by any stretch. It's low to mid 60s north and upper 60s, lower to mid 70s elsewhere. So with just a little bit of sun, we're right back into the mid 90s for highs tomorrow. Upper 80s to near 90 even far north. And the heat index up there a little bit higher, mid to upper 90s, especially in and around Merrimack, Eastern Hillsborough, interior Rockingham and Stratford County. That's where we have a heat advisory in effect during Thursday from midday right through the early part of the evening. Temperatures on Friday still quite toasty, anywhere from the low to mid 80s far north to lower 90s south. And then it will be hazy and turning more humid on Saturday. Temperatures a degree or two higher. The good news with Friday, as the afternoon wears on, it turns less sticky. Then it's hazy, hot, humid on Sunday. Could be the hottest day in this entire stretch, followed by scattered showers and storms Sunday late, mainly up north, and then anywhere Sunday night into Monday, followed by some relief from the heat Monday night through early Wednesday.
Okay, thank you for that weather forecast, meteorologist Mike Haddad. And now let's get to your news. First up, NHDES warns of Cyanobacteria in pond in Bedford. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Well, there is now a cyanobacteria bloom advisory for Sebbins Pond in Bedford. Take a look at these images. State environmental officials say testing today showed elevated levels of the bacteria. You can see the bacteria bloom on the surface of the water there. It can make people and pets sick. Now, officials say to stay away from the water until testing shows the bloom has subsided.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Goffstown police arrest man suspected of arson outside restaurant. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Goffstown police have arrested a man accused of setting an American flag on fire. You can see it on surveillance video outside Putnam's restaurant last month. Officers say they caught David B. Hiltz after responding to another arson call at a mailbox. Hiltz was charged with arson and desecration of the American flag. He is being held on preventative detention.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire health officials report one new COVID-19 death. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Coronavirus hospitalizations on the rise in the Granite State. There are 120 patients in hospitals across the state. That is the most in nearly 2 months. 34 are receiving COVID-specific treatments, also now the highest since late May. The state announcing 228 new COVID-19 cases today. That does not include any of the at-home tests, along with one new death reporting.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Granite Staters energy companies preparing as temperatures rise. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Surprises are great for parties, but for your work's digital security, not so much.
My favorite right now is our new flavor. It's called Black Diamond.
No matter what flavor you choose, we can all agree on one thing. There's no better weather for ice cream.
The heat. It's super hot. Yeah. So we just wanted ice cream.
Employees at Hayward's Ice Cream in Nashua were hard at work tending to the crowds Wednesday night. Electric providers are preparing too. Eversource says on average, New Hampshire customers use 25% more energy during the hot summer months.
We're really in the peak of that right now this week.
William Hinkle with Eversource says utilities are staying in close communication with ISO New England, which runs the regional grid.
We're in good shape for the next few days here in New Hampshire. You know, we do regular routine and maintenance year-round to be ready for heat waves like this.
To help save money, experts suggest keeping the AC as high as you comfortably can, rotate ceiling fans counterclockwise, and cook outside. Now back at Hayward's Ice Cream, many are just happy the shop was open late enough to help them cool off after a few long hot days.
The customers are so nice. Like, a lot of them are so sweet. Was the ice cream good? Yeah?
Now, Eversource says they are not in an emergency situation just yet, but they do have crews on standby in case anything comes up. Live in Nashua tonight, Marissa Tansino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Exeter man drowns while swimming in Sandwich. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The 911 call came in around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Sandwich Police and Fire, along with State Police Marine Patrol, were called to Squam Lake in Sandwich for a possible drowning. Officials say 92-year-old William Duryea of Exeter was swimming in the lake when he went under.
His parties that were there with him on the dock, he went out and they didn't hear him or see him and called for some help.
Nearby boaters heard those calls for help and jumped into action.
Some recreational boaters came in and were able to get him out of the water and perform CPR.
Those efforts were unsuccessful. Duryea was pronounced dead at the scene. Marine Patrol says the tragedy also serves as a reminder as people head to New Hampshire waters to keep cool in this extreme heat.
it's important that folks going out onto our public waters in the state of New Hampshire take it very seriously. It's important that they get to know their surroundings.
And that's not just for lakes and ponds.
Really pay close attention to riptides down on the ocean as the beaches are getting busier and busier with this hot weather for the cooler water down on the ocean, but the riptides, the undercurrents that are down there, and along our rivers here in New Hampshire, where we have quick drop-offs where the current may take you off from a sandy shore that was, waist deep, and now you're out over your head, and if you didn't know how to swim, that can set you up for failure.
And officials also suggest swimming in areas that have lifeguards. Reporting live, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Former police officer Concord therapy dog aid people in times of crisis. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I am so lucky that I get to work with Liberty. Liberty is a therapeutic dog. She relieves anxiety. So that's what Liberty's all about. There's a lot of studies out there on the use of dogs doing therapy work, and whether it's in a courthouse or hospitals or stuff like that. And it's such a positive impact. I worked as a police officer, and I also worked at the jail. And there's a lot of stress, a lot of trauma in working in those jobs. Just being able to go for a walk with Liberty after we might go to a crime scene. She just takes all that negative energy, and it's just all positive energy. Liberty is that piece of that unconditional love. Liberty doesn't care who you are. She doesn't care what just happened. She's just going to be there for you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. January 6th committee prepares for a primetime hearing Thursday. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The primetime hearing set for tomorrow night from the January 6th committee, of course, right here live on ABC. Well, tonight here we learn who the American people will hear from, in particular, former White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who has been asked about conversations within the cabinet involving the 25th Amendment, which would remove a president from office, and what Pat Cipollone warned the president. Here's our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Carr, with new reporting here.
The January 6th committee is preparing a dramatic primetime presentation, a detailed accounting of what Donald Trump was doing for more than 3 hours while the U.S. Capitol was under attack by his supporters.
This is all about the president's dereliction of duty and the 187 minutes that he was in the White House while this beautiful building and the Temple of Democracy behind me was under attack.
The key witness will be White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who was with the president in the West Wing on January 6th and who spent some 8 hours answering questions in a videotaped deposition. ABC News has learned that the committee asked Cipollone about conversations within the cabinet about invoking the 25th Amendment, which enables the cabinet to declare a president mentally unfit for office. As I reported in the book Betrayal, as the riot unfolded, Cipollone pleaded with Trump to condemn it, warning him that if he didn't, he risked being removed from office, either through impeachment or the 25th Amendment. Cipollone testified he repeatedly urged Trump to make a public statement calling on his supporters to leave the Capitol.
I felt it was my obligation to continue to push for that, and others felt it was their obligation as well.
Would it have been possible at any moment for the president to walk down to the podium in the briefing room and talk to the nation?
Would it have been possible?
Yes.
Yes, it would have been possible.
And so let's get right to John tonight. John, we know it took months for the committee to persuade Pat Cipollone to testify, and you've learned they did ask him about those conversations regarding whether to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office.
David, Pat Cipollone really is the key witness here. He was one of the few people who was with Trump at the White House when all this went down, and a source close to Cipollone told me that he seriously considered resigning on that day, but decided to stay because he felt things would have been even worse if he had left. David?
All right, this is all again tomorrow night. John, thank you. John will be right here with me, the entire political team, live as we cover this tomorrow night, the January 6th committee, the primetime hearing. It begins at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on ABC.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. That does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.